What we're working on in this video is how to solve consecutive number word problems. Now, when we talk about consecutive numbers, we're talking about numbers that are right next to each other. So if you think of like 4, 5, or 6, 7, or 8, 9, 10, 11, those numbers are consecutive because they're right next to each other. Now, if a problem says consecutive even, we're looking at 4, 6, or 6, 8, or 8, 10, or 10, 12. And the same with consecutive odd numbers, 5, 7, 7, 9, 9, 11. Now, typically the problems look something like this. They'll say the sum of two consecutive numbers is 9, and find the two numbers, okay? So the way we usually set it up is something like this. X plus 1 is equal to 9. Now, if x is your first number, let's say 4, the next number would be 4 plus 1. That would be the 5. So whenever we say, what is the sum of two consecutive numbers, we always have this set up. The first number plus the second number is equal to what value? So over here, then, we would then solve it, and we would get, you can ignore the parentheses because there's a plus in between. So this is just x plus 1 is equal to 9. 2x plus 1 is equal to 9. We'll subtract 1 from both sides, and we'll get 2x is equal to 8. So x is equal to 4. Now, this is my first number. The number that comes afterwards is x plus 1, which is 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Now, there's a lot of math here, and it doesn't have to be that confusing. Once you find the first consecutive number, you can just ask yourself what number comes next, and that would be 5. Now, if they ask us a question that says even in it, for example, the sum of two consecutive even numbers is 10. Now, if we think of this 4 as x, then the next number that comes after x will be x plus 2 because I need the next even number. So the even numbers are spaced out by 2. So we're going to add the first number plus the second number, and that's going to give us 10. And again, we can ignore the parentheses. The reason why is because there's an addition there. If there was nothing here, then that would be a multiplication. But since there's an addition here, we're good. We can just throw the parentheses away, and we get 2x plus 2 is equal to 10. 2x is equal to 8. And then x is equal to 4. So that's the first number in the list. And then x plus 2 is equal to 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. And that gives me the second value. Now again, you don't have to go through all of this nonsense. You can just say if 4 is my first number, what is the next even number that comes after 4? And that would be 6. Now over here, if they ask for consecutive odd numbers, so the sum of two consecutive odd numbers is 12. Now this is where students make a mistake. Understand that if 5 is equal to x, the next number is still 2 bigger than that first number, because the odds are separated by adding 2, right? 5, 7, 9, the difference is 2. So if we assume the first number is odd, by adding 2, I get the next odd number. Right? So both the even number and the odd number problems are set up exactly the same. You have the first number plus the second number is equal to some value. So again, we'll get x plus 2 is equal to 12. 2x plus 2 is equal to 12. 2x is equal to 10. Then x is equal to 5. And then the next odd number is 7. So there's a little cheat that you can do on these problems. Now, depending on your teacher, some teachers really care about you showing this work. Some teachers just want you to get the right answer. For me, I just want you to get the right answer. So for me, if you look at what number they sum to, 9, well, let's divide 9 by 2 because there's two numbers. Let's take the average of 9. So 9 divided by 2 is equal to 4.5. Now look at our two answers. 4.5 is the value that's in between our two answers. So if you just divide this by 2 and give me the number smaller and the number bigger, that'll give me the correct answer also. That's another way to double check your answer. Same thing over here. They sum to 10. So what's 10 divided by 2? 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. And you can sort of see over here that 5 is the number that's in between 4 and 6. So if I say, what is the even number smaller than 5? It's 4. And the even number bigger than 5 is 6. That would give me the correct answer also. Now over here, let's do the cheat. 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Now you can see again, 6 is the value that's between 5 and 7. Now if I said, give me the odd number that's below 6 and above 6, you would give me 5 and 7. And this works every time. When this problem shows up in the book, usually it has some kind of narrative with it. So let's look at this problem. The sum of 2 consecutive page numbers in a book is 249. Find the page numbers. Now, even though it has this little story about numbers in the book, as soon as we see the word consecutive and then numbers, we automatically go to the x plus 1 is equal to 249 format, right? The first page plus the second page is equal to the sum. So let's get rid of the parentheses. X plus 1 is equal to 249. Let's combine like terms. Let's get rid of this 1 and subtract it from both sides. And then we'll divide both sides by 2, and we'll get x is equal to 124. And the next page will be x plus 1 will be 125. Okay. Now, if we use the cheat method, we can say 249, and we're looking at 2 pages, so we're going to divide by 2, and we'll get 124.5. And if you say, what are the 2 numbers that are before and after 124, you'll get 124 and 125. The same answer. So let's look at this bottom problem. The sum of 2 consecutive odd room numbers in a school is 124. Find the room numbers. Now, because it says odd, we're going to use the x plus 2 because odd numbers are 2 apart. Now, the sum is 124. Now, we can ignore the parentheses. We can combine like terms. And we get 2x is equal to 122. When I divide by 2, I get x is equal to 61. The next odd number is going to be 63. And then that's my answer. Now, if we do the cheat method, we're going to divide 124 divided by 2. And we're going to get, we're going to get 62. And if you ask me, what are the odd numbers smaller and bigger than 62? That'll be 61 and 63. And you can see we get the same answer. Now, sometimes they'll change these problems by having 3 consecutive numbers, not just 2. So the way we do that is we add the first number plus the second number, and then the third number will be 2 away from the first number. So if we pick any 3 consecutive numbers, 5, 6, and 7, 6 is 1 more than 5, 7 is 2 more than 5. Okay, so that's the first number, the second number, and now the third number. When we add them all up, we get 60. Now we can ignore the parentheses, and we can combine like terms. So we get x plus 1 is plus x plus 2 is equal to 60. And now we get 3x plus 3 is equal to 57. And then, is equal to 60. And then when we subtract 3 from both sides, we get 3x is equal to 57. and then we divide both sides by 3, we get x is equal to 19. Now, the next number after 19 is 20, and the number that comes after 20 is 21. So these are my 3 numbers. Okay. Now, if we do that cheat method, if we look at 60, now we're going to divide by 3 because there's 3 numbers. Before we divided by 2 because there were 2 numbers. So we're dividing by 3, and that should give me the middle number. So 60 divided by 3 is 20. And if I ask you what are the consecutive numbers smaller and bigger than 20, you would give me 19 and you'd give me 21. And that would be my 3 answers. Now, they can also ask this problem as an even or odd problem. Whether it says even or odd, you do it exactly the same way. You do x for the first number, x plus 2 for the second number, and then the third number will be x plus 4. Okay, we're just adding 2 to the second number. And then we're going to say this is equal to 60. So then we can get rid of the parentheses. Can combine like terms, and then we can subtract 6 from both sides, and then we get x is equal to 18. Now, if I were to say, what are the 2 even numbers that are just bigger than 18? Well, x plus 2 will give me 18 plus 2, which is 20, and x plus 4 is equal to 18 plus 4 is equal to 22. And then those are my 3 answers. Now, if we did the cheat method and we divide by 3 because there's 3 numbers that we're adding, we'll get 60 divided by 3 is equal to 20. Now, if I ask you what are the even numbers bigger and smaller than 20, well, you'd tell me 18 and 22, and those would be my 3 answers. Now, I hope this video helps you, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe so other people can find it. Thank you.